Welcome to another edition of the Red Zone podcast. I'm your host, Emmanuel Point de Jour, and today is day 5 of the free agency special, and we are covering the Winnipeg Blue Bombers free agency. So let's get right into it, and we're going to start with their only single addition of the offseason, and that was quarterback Chris Streveler, who was with the team in 2019, won the Grey Cup, went down to the NFL, played with, I think, the Jets and the Cardinals before coming back to the CFL this past offseason. And obviously saying, hey, this is the only place I want to be. It's Winnipeg if I come back up to the CFL. And he signs with them. And yeah, he's probably going to be a backup behind Zach Collaros. Obviously, you have a two-time MOP winner in Zach. You're obviously going to back him up, which is not bad. But I think he probably improved his arm while he was down in the NFL. I think he's still a really good runner. And he should be a very good short yardage quarterback. So they bring him back and nobody else. I mean, that was pretty much it because they re-signed a lot of important guys on that offense. And well, the two biggest names, Brady Oliveira and Dalton Schoen. Brady Oliveira won the MOP award, and this was probably by a landslide. I mean, he had over 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns on 260 carries, 5.9 yards per carry, and he was just fantastic. Played all 18 games, played the playoffs, and he was just one game away from having one of the best years ever for a running back, best season ever. And unfortunately lost to Montreal, but they're trying to bring back the core, and that includes Brady Oliveira. He's a big piece, probably their biggest piece. And last year, they went to more of running the ball, and it really worked out like a charm because they got that efficient passing game, and then when you include Brady Oliveira in your backfield, that's basically unstoppable. And then you got wide receiver Dalton Schoen, who was also really, really good last year. He had over 1,000 yards receiving. He had an injury in the playoffs, but he came back for the Grey Cup. But he's also amazing. I think he won Rookie of the Year a couple years ago. So he's now back with the team. And you could call it there. You could say, hey, you know what? They're the winners of free agency. They already won free agency. Why would they bring back more guys? Well, they just decided, hey, let's bring them all back together. And that includes 2 offensive linemen in Stanley Bryant and Patrick Neufeld. That includes Drew Wolotarski on that receiving core. And that was for the offense. For the defense, it was Dietrich Nichols. It was also Brandon Alexander, I think his name is. And those are both defensive backs. So you could see, hey, we're just going to run it back. With their losses, though, because they did lose some guys. So they didn't bring everyone back. They lost quarterback Drew Brown, who went to Ottawa. Offensive lineman Jamarcus Hardrick, who we talked about yesterday, he went to Saskatchewan. Defensive back Demario Houston, who led the league in interceptions, he went to Calgary. Probably not enough money to bring him back. Defensive lineman Ricky Walker, he initially signed with Calgary and then kind of backed out due to, I think, some personal reasons. So hopefully everything's okay there and he can sign soon enough. And then defensive lineman Jackson Jeffcoat. So those are the guys. And then today it was announced that Rashid Bailey was signing with the Toronto Argonauts. So that's also a loss on the receiving core. But I think they were really happy with who they had at the receiver position to, let him go. And for defensive lineman Jackson Jeffcoat, he retired. So have a great retirement, Jeffcoat. But he was a monster. I mean, we talked about Jefferson and Jeffcoat. Did I talk about Jefferson? Well, okay. They also brought back Willie Jefferson on that defensive line. If I forgot about that, I don't know how I did. But he is also really good, getting better with age. We all know that. And yeah, so they decided, hey, let's bring back the core from last year and we can possibly go and make it to another Grey Cup, if not win another Grey Cup, and that's what they're hoping for. They got the quarterback and Zach Collaros locked up. Now they got Brady Oliveira, Dalton Schoen, Jefferson, Bryan. I mean, they have tons of guys locked up for 2024. So let's see if they can win the West once again. With how the West is looking, though, it will be one of the hardest in years for them to go and win, but we'll have to wait and see for that. But that will do it for this edition of the Red Zone podcast, breaking down the Bombers. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think it should be clear that this was a very, very good offseason when you can bring back almost everyone, especially the important players back like Oliveira and Schoen. Then, that grade should be an A, or at least in the A range, and no less than that. But let me know your thoughts. We'll see you tomorrow when we break down a team in the East Division. I forget which team it is, but you should know, and then we're going to do that tomorrow. But have a great rest of your day. We'll see you then. Peace.